Okay, now I can see you. Good morning, everybody, and a very big thank you to the organising committee, to the Colombo Tea Traders Association, and to the Tea Board of Sri Lanka, to Niraj, Anil, and Ganesh for inviting me to be part of this excellent event, and thank you for the wonderful hospitality we have received so far. So we only have 14 minutes and 26 seconds. So I'm not going to talk about the whole of Europe. I'm going to focus in on what's happening in the UK. But just to tell you why, we have very different tea markets across the UK. So this is a very crude comparison of Germany and the United Kingdom. And you can clearly see that Germany drinks a lot of herbal fruit infusions. Thank you. But in the UK, we are very much focused on drinking black tea, usually with milk. So 2 stereotypes coming up. I'm British. I'm going to talk about the weather and the football. So what's hot and what's not? Certainly not the weather. It's not the end of July, but it's already been the wettest July on record. As you can see here at the Wimbledon Championships, the tennis championships, and the Euro competition that was held in Germany. We're not bitter, but well done, Spain. Important point here, that weather does impact on the beverages that people drink. And as we've seen in previous cold, wet summers, I'm sure we're going to see an uptick in the amount of tea that has been consumed this summer. We still drink over 100 million cups of tea every single day, hi Karush, in the UK, and that's Camellia sinensis. And actually, the number one reason people tell us they drink tea is because of the taste. And that's even the younger consumers, those 18 to 24-year-olds. But key point here, they're usually only drinking tea at home, and they may drink only 1 cup a day, where the national average is around 4. So we really need to focus on what that next generation is thinking about tea and what formats they want to drink their tea in. So this slide also comes with a health warning, because going to the pub and drinking beer is somewhat of a national sport in the UK. But our latest research told us that actually over 70% of Brits are sometimes or often electing to drink a cup of tea instead of drinking a beer, a glass of wine, or spirits. So this is really exciting, and it's that younger age group, again, who are electing to do this more often than anyone over 45. This really fits with the global trend that we've started to hear about already this morning of people seeking out health-conscious options. They're thinking about their well-being, and they really want to take care of themselves. So why are we drinking tea? Well, tea meets both our emotional and our functional needs. Again, we survey many, many thousands of people every year, and tea scores really highly on the emotional front. So it reassures me. We come together over a cup of tea in a crisis. Popping the kettle on helps to diffuse a difficult situation. But also tea brings me warmth. Tea reassures me. But tea also wins on the functional side. We win out at breakfast, tea gets us going in the morning, it helps us start the day. If we look at coffee by comparison, it's very centered on functionality. So if you ask people to associate words with coffee, they talk about strong, they talk about energizing. And really a point I want to pick out here is they talk about the caffeine content. You know, they really want that caffeine hit. We need to really communicate that there is a moderate level of natural caffeine in tea that really can help you with your alertness and your cognitive function. All hot beverages in the UK are more likely to be prepared and drunk in the home. However, when out of home, over 50% of people will elect to buy a coffee. We are really missing out here. Even people who only drink tea will sometimes buy a coffee, but 30% of those people will rather go without any drink at all. So a message to the Starbucks and the Costas out there, please improve the way you make your tea, because you are losing out on profit. You're also losing out on the things people would go in and buy with their tea, all of those snacks. So this is a real area to improve and increase consumption. And if we sort of drill down into this a little bit more, and there's some key points here, why don't you want to buy that tea out of home? It's about taste. It's about perception of value. If we ask about coffee, respondents will say that baristas make the best cup of coffee. There isn't any theatre with tea in these high-throughput cafes. You throw a tea bag in a cup, they pour the hot water on, they don't allow it to brew before they slosh in the milk and put on the lid. It doesn't taste good, there's no theatre. So people understand that the tea that they make for themselves at home, which only costs a few pence per serve, that tastes better. So why should I pay £2, £3, £4 out of home for a cup of tea that is inferior? Of course, I want to make a key point here. We need to increase the perception of value of tea, both that is consumed in retail and prepared at home by ourselves, as well as the out-of-home offer. The UK Tea Association Board has made value perception our key priority. We need to address this, especially because we are asking producers to do more and more. We're asking them to keep pace with the ever-increasing trend of more stringent regulatory requirements. We're asking them to be stewards of the environment and take care of sustainability and reduce emissions. We must recognize this in the price that we pay for our tea, and I'm sure this is going to be discussed in the session on value. But just coming back to this idea that I make the best cup of tea, 72% of people not only say that they make a better cup of tea than the one they can get out of home, they make a better cup of tea than their family and their friends. What this really speaks to is tea is very personal. The way I like it, the way, very strong, is not the way somebody else likes it. So we really need to create in the industry a new lexicon. Think about when people go into those coffee shops and they order a coffee. They have a whole language around getting it really specific to their tastes. We need this for tea. So people can go in and ask for their strong builder's brew with cow milk, or they can ask for a light brew with plant milk, whatever their preference. We need to think about how we can make tea more bespoke, more fun, more personalized and interesting to make that out-of-home experience more appealing to consumers. Standard tea bags are still the most popular way to prepare tea, both in-home and out-of-home. But if having coffee out, people will say that they will buy what they cannot make for themselves at home. Interestingly, 18 to 24-year-olds are much more interested in drinking artisan or specialty teas, and they are prepared to pay for that. So this is a huge opportunity for improving the out-of-home experience. We asked respondents what would encourage you to buy more tea, and they told us a better range of tea and better presentation would encourage me to buy tea and spend more. But actually, they already are. They just don't know they're drinking tea. So we've really witnessed a huge growth in the popularity of latte-type drinks. But these include tea lattes, so chai latte, matcha latte, etc. We showed our survey respondents pictures of these types of drinks, and we asked them to tell us, is this a coffee, is it tea, is it neither? And 50% of them got it wrong. They pointed to pictures and said, that's a coffee. So we're not associating tea with these premium drinks, these treat drinks. So we need to educate people about the tea in their cups. When are we drinking tea? Well, afternoon tea may sound like a cliche, but it's still hugely popular. It's as British as fish and chips, shepherd's pie, or a Sunday roast. But it's really great to see that young people are carrying on this tradition. A recent retailer survey said that over 70% of people were planning to have an afternoon tea at least once in the next month. And this isn't just about that traditional afternoon tea. This is about modern twists. This is about home delivery, as my colleague just said. Or this is, you can go really premium and go for the Peter Pan themed afternoon tea at the top of the Shard if you really want to spend good money. But in those scenarios, people are spending good money on tea. So I see that there is an opportunity to increase that value perception. Younger consumers, 18s up, they prefer going out for pastries. They prefer brunch. So we've got to think how tea sits in these scenarios of brunch and afternoon tea to really reach those younger consumers. Afternoon tea is also a massive tourist attraction, and it's a great way to generate tea sales. And just to mention it, it is Afternoon Tea Week, the 12th to the 18th of August, so we'll be celebrating all things afternoon tea. I also noticed Hey Tea on your slide. So in Britain, we are experiencing the second wave of growth in bubble tea shops. This is Hey Tea's Soho store in London, and they have shops all over the world. They boast about using real tea, real milk, real fruit, nothing artificial, and they've got 100 million members. Imagine having direct access to 100 million young consumers who you can talk to about tea. They have partnerships with premium fashion brand Fendi. They've partnered up with Barbie, they've partnered with Adidas, and they've partnered with Oreos, all things that appeal to young consumers. They recently opened a store in Manchester in the north of England, and it hit the news because there were queues around the block to get bubble tea. So let's think about those formats that people really want. And also, I talked a lot about Starbucks and Costa, but there's actually been an explosion of spiced chai shops growing in the UK. So this brand here, Chaiwala, launched in Leicester in 2016, and they now have over 80 stores, including the first drive-through in Bolton in the north. Meanwhile, Carrick Chai opened in 2019, and it has an ambition to grow its footprint across the UK to 100 stores by 2027. Others, such as Amala Chai and Chai Guys, have outlets in London, and they're creating a bespoke experience around drinking spiced chai that really appeals to this younger consumer. They're in places like Borough Market, which is seen as extremely fashionable. Bubble tea and spiced chai could be the gateway drinks. They could be our route to talk to the next generation of consumers about tea, to engage them in the stories of tea, about the origins of tea, and to inspire them to try new and different types of tea, and in a way, to reconnect people to the tea in their cup. And lastly, I just want to talk to you about two of our current campaigns, which really fits with what we've heard today. Tea is the thing. Tea is the thing to fit into your lifestyle. It's the thing to fit in throughout your day. Tea is the thing to have pre-exercise and post-exercise, and I hope you all took part in the hashtag Tea Power campaign on International Tea Day, which really focused in on this. And please use that hashtag again when we enter into the Olympics. Tea is the thing to have when you're meditating, when you're out for a hike, when you are catching up with your friends and family, or you're in the office. And then our other campaign, going back to what I said earlier, hashtag Have It Your Way. Drink the tea you like, how you like it. Let's not be snobby about tea. Let's bring people into tea and just introduce them to new and interesting ways. It's really more than just a drink. It's the social glue that holds us all together. And no matter what you might have seen in the press, tea is still the nation's favourite beverage in the UK. I have 1 minute left. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sharon.